The Old Witch and the Stray Dog. Mrs. Brendel was known around the neighborhood as the Old Witch. She was sharp-tongued, didn't tolerate nonsense, and often scolded the neighborhood kids when they got too loud. No one dared cross her. People whispered about her in the market and avoided her gaze when she passed. They said she was bitter because she lived alone with her ancient cat, Myrtle, and had no family to speak of. One day afternoon, Mrs. Brendel was returning home from the market when she noticed a skinny, shivering stray dog curled up under a bush. Its coat was muddy and it looked up at her with sad, hopeful eyes. "Go on, get lost," she barked. "I have no time for stray mutts." The dog whined, but it didn't move. "Humph! Suit yourself." She stomped off toward her house. But that night, while she sat by the fire knitting, her thoughts kept drifting back to the dog. It was cold out there, too cold for any creature to survive. By the time she went to bed, she could not shake the image of those pleading eyes. The next morning, Mrs. Brendel found herself wandering outside with a blanket and a bit of leftover stew. She found the dog still under the bush, even weaker than before. With a sigh, she laid the blanket next to the dog and put down the bowl of food. "Don't you dare come inside," she muttered as she walked away. But the next day, when the dog was still there, she brought it more food. Slowly, over the course of several weeks, the stray became a regular visitor of her house. Eventually, the dog followed her inside one bitterly cold night, curled up by the fire, and never left. The neighbors soon noticed the change. Mrs. Brendel still scolded the kids, but her tone was softer, and if they peered through her window, they had seen her laughing softly as the dog rested his head on her lap. One day, a boy from the neighborhood gathered the courage to approach her. Mrs. Brendel, why are you so nice to the dog when you are so mean to people? She looked at him sharply, but then her face softened. The dog does not care what people say. It just needed a bit of kindness. And I suppose I did too. The moral of the story is even the toughest people sometimes just need love and kindness to bring out their softer side. Story the end. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.